Today on Title Talk, we're going to talk about two or more people owning property that can't agree on what the future of that piece of property should be. Hi, I'm James Brown, founder of Title Leap and real estate attorney.
And I'm David Velez, super duper closer extraordinaire and chief development officer of Title Leap, brought to you by James Brown Law. Today we're going to talk about what happens when two or more people own property but they can't seem to agree what to do with said property.
So you have two or more people in ownership. One wants to sell it, one wants to rent it, and they can't figure out what they want to do. And so there's a remedy, it's a civil law remedy in Florida called partition.
Partition.
Yep, we talked about this in an earlier Title Talk a few weeks back.
I thought it sounded a little familiar.
It was a subtopic of another topic we were working on.
Right.
And so what's happened is, in the meantime, we have received several calls, including 3 just this week, from realtors and owners where they could not agree on what to do with the property. Typically, one person wants to sell.
Okay.
And so they call me up and they say, hey, what are our options? And there is a civil action remedy called partition, which allows, David and I are both sellers, we're both owners, I want to sell, he doesn't. I actually sue him in partition, to which there are very few answers that you can tender in your defense. There are a few, and they're mainly financial, but there's nothing really that delays the sale significantly. So I sue you in partition. That's going to go to a forced sale very quickly.
So a forced sale, like would I be forced to sign a contract?
No. And that's the interesting thing. It's actually conducted much like a foreclosure, and it's going to be a judicial sale.
Okay.
But what happens typically is this. As a business tactic, one wants to sell, one owner wants to sell, one owner doesn't. I would hire a lawyer, and the lawyer would tell you that you were going to force the sale of the property. The first thing you would typically do is you'd go find your own lawyer, and if you find a good lawyer, the lawyer is going to tell you, David, there's not a whole lot of reason to fight this thing. They're going to win, and you're just going to pay me a lot of money. So typically what happens is you come back to me and you say, okay, Jim, let's just sell the property because we're going to burn up a lot of money in court costs. My lawyer tells me I don't have a lot of defenses, and so we actually do an arm's length transaction. We use the realtor typically who referred us the case and a file, and then it goes to arm's length sale. Realtor gets their commission, 2 owners get their share of the proceeds, and it's a closing.
So you essentially almost fear them into
We
selling.
call it legal leverage.
Gotcha. Okay, all right.
We call it legal leverage.
That's interesting. Well, it looks like, as usual, we are very well armed to be able to deal with these types of transactions when you have people who just don't want to get along. It's the holidays. Come on, people.
So we had an interesting one this week, despite of the holidays. Boyfriend and girlfriend bought property. Boyfriend and dad were in title, and the girlfriend called me and said, hey, I just want to get out. Referral from a realtor. I just want to get out. My boyfriend will give me a couple of grand. That's all I put into the property. I want the quitclaim deed. I'll give the quitclaim deed and they'll be done. Pause. Not a good situation for the girlfriend.
Why is that?
There was a mortgage on the property.
There was a mortgage on the property.
So now she's out of title. The property's in the control of the boyfriend and the dad.
Right.
And if they stop paying the mortgage, who could be 100% liable for the mortgage?
She could.
She could.
Oh, boy.
So suppose, not that it's likely, but suppose the father and the son stop paying the mortgage. They file a bankruptcy.
Right.
Now she's 100% liable for that mortgage. And if she's doing well in business, she's very successful. If she's doing well now she's going to be saddled with the burden of that entire debt. So sometimes things aren't as easy as they appear, and we're going to use a partition action in that situation. Even though she didn't put any money into the property,
Right.
she was on title as a 1/3 owner. So a judge doesn't know how much she put in.
Right.
He sees the partition, or the judge, being a she, sees the partition action, and they file it. They move through the litigation. It's going to go to sale, and if it sells, they'd each be getting 1/3, unless the other two defended. And it's a long story, but regardless, as soon as we threatened partition, the father and the son fell in line, and now a closing is going to occur. I'm hopefully going to refer that back to the realtor, and the client girlfriend will get her share of the money.
Sounds good. It sounds like the realtor is going to win out on this one too, huh?
Realtor wins here. Yep. So if you have any situations that sound like this, we would love to make those transactions where you get a closing and we get a legal file and everybody makes out.
So Jim, I was running some reports the other day. Guess how many users we have in Title Leap right now?
Off the top of my head, 900.
Wrong. We have over 1,200 users using Title Leap. That's 1,200 people who have experienced so much smoother closings, efficient closings, and 1,200 satisfied customers.
Saves a lot of 1,200 people can save a lot of time with Title Leap. That is for sure.
Yes, and they are all extremely happy with it. And
yeah, we do. We get a lot of praise. We get a lot of texts. We get a lot of emails on how much time it's saved. We're actually doing a demo at our RAPV breakfast meeting, and I asked if anybody in the audience had any questions, and 2 people stood up and said they were using Title Leap and they actually loved it. So
that is awesome. Yeah. Well, that's what we do here. We love to empower real estate agents with the tools to succeed. So thanks for watching.
And hit subscribe and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and we will keep you up to date on all the weekly content we provide. We'll see you next week.
Keep it funky.